You're newly divorced and you want to get back out there, date, you want to find the right girlfriend or wife. Today, I'm going to share extremely practical steps with you that you can implement immediately as per request by Ryan to help you get back out there. The very first thing you want to do right now is answer the following questions. One is, who am I? Second, where am I going? And third, with whom? And I'm going to focus right now in particular on the last question, with whom. First, who am I? Write down your values. Second, where am I going? What are my goals? And third, with whom? Write down your ideal girlfriend or wife. I know you're only just getting out there right now, but you want clarity. The last thing you want is to keep wasting time with the wrong women. So you write down your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, and your deal breakers. And also, by the way, the third question, with whom? Who do I want by my side? That refers to quality male friends. What types of quality male friends do I want to have in my life? Write down their values. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? Must-haves, nice-to-haves, deal breakers. Extremely important. Then you have to understand that there's basically only 3 ways to get dates. There's dating apps, Instagram, and approaches. When it comes to dating apps, you do want to get on them. Before you install them, you have to get a photo shoot with great outfits, okay? Let's get a little bit nitty-gritty here. It's very important that you don't just take the first best photographer. Most photographers suck, okay? Get really good pictures taken by a photographer that has been approved by somebody. Get some feedback. Do research, Google local. Let's say you're in Dallas, for example. Look at 5 different photographers, look at their portfolios, evaluate them. Then you do a shoot with them, 3 to 5 different outfits, walking through the city. Your outfits have to be on point. Extremely important. One should be in a suit, one in a shirt. Please only ever wear something short-sleeved, like a t-shirt or a polo if you're jacked. Only if you're in really good shape. If you're not in really good shape, just wear something darker. Wear a suit, wear something long sleeve, okay? If you're a little bit overweight, just wear a black shirt and a button-up is what you Americans call it, underneath your suit. Then you get pictures taken. Then you set up Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, Raya, and Christian Mingle if that applies to you. So you set up various different ones. You get 6 types of photos. Social proof, lifestyle, status-enhancing elements, and professional photography. You want to have 2 to 3 photos on your profile that are professional photography, 1 with social proof. Do you have cousin Marie and cousin Sarah maybe at a wedding posing with you? Great. You showing yourself in the presence of other women is extremely powerful. You don't need that for dating apps, but it really helps. If you have an animal that's not ugly, pose with it. If you have a dog, if you have a cat, take cute pictures with it, put it up. If you like fishing, don't have any fishing pictures on your dating apps, please. They really work very well if you make them work. People say dating apps don't work. Complete and utter nonsense. You can get at least 1 quality date every single week just from using dating apps for 15 minutes a day. So you download all these dating apps, then you put these photos up. In your bio, you just write this. First thing is your job description. If you're extremely tall, then you would want to re-emphasize that on those dating apps. Then your job description, dentist, Dallas, paddle, and meditation. 3 bullet points. That's it for the bio. For the prompts, 2/3 want to be fun and lighthearted. 1/3 is supposed to show your values. Don't have any weird shit in there. Don't put anything on there that may be misunderstood. We come to texting in a minute. But please avoid anything in written form that requires non-verbal communication to be understood. You get 6 great photos on your dating apps. No selfies, none of that nonsense, okay? Quality pictures, social proof, status-enhancing elements, you giving a speech, you at a dinner table, anything that boosts your status in perception. And please don't have any mindset problems like, oh, isn't this superficial? Yeah, dating apps are superficial, but that's okay. If you have the expectation that these dating apps need to represent the entire depth of your character as a man, you're gravely mistaken. The only purpose of dating apps is to meet them for a date. That's the only purpose. You get on these apps, you get the dates, you meet them, boom, that's all. It's a fantastic tool. It's not the only way. We're going to talk about Instagram and approaches in a minute, but it is a fantastic tool you can start using straight away. And by the way, I know you're only newly divorced, but you do want to get out there straight away. What are you meant to do? Chill at home alone on a Tuesday evening? Would you not rather spend it in the company of a beautiful woman? No, but these women aren't on dating apps. Yeah, they are. But you have to understand that dating apps have an invisible account score associated with your profile. And so if you have shitty pictures, more women swipe left on you, the algorithm notices that, and you get downranked. If you have better pictures, more women swipe right on you. I did it with a client of mine in New York. He runs a company. We changed 2 of his pictures, and he went from 10 matches in 3-4 weeks to 100 matches in 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. If you change a couple of pictures, it works unbelievably well. You have the bio, and then you want to text. Here are a couple of openers. The best openers are tailored to a profile, but here are a couple of openers you can use straight away. You seem like you have a great balance between elegant and yet still fun. Sarah. The next one. You seem like you have great energy. Sarah. If she has a dog and you have a dog, you can say, we should go on a dog double date someday. I just wouldn't know if I'd be able to handle it if they got on better than we do. Now, very important. Never prematurely escalate, please. Never ask her out of the open, except for in this one particular scenario with a dog opener, okay? Again, you seem like you have great energy, Sarah. You seem like you have a great balance between elegant and yet still fun and the dog opener. Now, the best ones are tailored to a profile. But before you say some stupid shit, please use these. They will serve you very well. Then you go, I'm not going to cover texting in all detail right now. That would go a little bit too far. But then basically she says, oh, thank you. Then you can say, how's your week going anyway? She says something. And then you want to have a little bit of social stuff in there. Not just, oh, I'm just working. Yeah, I was with friends, dancing bachata, playing golf, was awesome. Gonna grill the weekend. What about you? She says, cool. You refers to something in her profile, small, something short. Just keep in mind, please. If you're gonna say something, don't say what most guys would say. Don't make dad jokes. If you're not sure whether you should make a joke or not on dating apps, just don't do it, please. Okay? If you're not sure whether you should say something on a dating app or not, just don't do it. Keep it a little bit factual. And then after 10, 20 messages, so you have a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of ping pong, and then you just go, let's meet for drinks one of these days. That's a soft go. So you say, let's meet for drinks one of these days. She says, cool. Let's say today is Friday, and today of the recording. You could say, cool, how about Sunday or Monday evening? And then you meet her for drinks. Just drinks at a bar. No dinner, nothing else. You meet her for drinks in a bar. Ideally, alcohol-free drinks. Ideally, but if you're going to have a glass of wine, that's okay. Let's meet for drinks one of these days. She says, cool. And then you go, cool, how about Sunday or Monday evening? ? Great. And then you suggest a place. That's dating apps. If you use all dating apps, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, Match.com, Christian Mingle, Raya, you'll be drowning in dates if you do it right. Now, for some, you'll get amazing results with dating apps. For some, it'll be okay. There are other ways. Now, if we look at Instagram, the purpose of Instagram is, one, you can send messages directly on Instagram, and you can find a woman, let's say you're, again, let's use the New York example, New York, Brooklyn smoothie shop. That's the Instagram page. You go to the followers and you find attractive women. You go to gyms in New York, if you live in New York, that you're not a member of, and then you DM them. That's where you find attractive women. Basically, local pages, you go to their followers, and that's where you find the attractive profiles that you can then just DM. And then you can use, you seem like you have a great balance between elegant and yet still fun, Sarah, as an opener. If you don't know what to say, use that as an opener. You send 5 to 10 per day. You'll send 150 to 300 cold DMs a month, and you got to get a couple of dates from that. If your Instagram is built well, your Instagram has to be very good. You have to understand, women judge you by your worst, not by your best picture. Let me say it again. They judge you by your worst, not by your best picture. So have at least 9 to 12, ideally 12, great photos of yourself, social proof, lifestyle. Lifestyle doesn't mean you doing squats, by the way, okay? It has to be well done. Make sure that the pictures you're tagged in don't make you look bad. If you lost a lot of weight, delete all those photos. If you've significantly improved your looks in some way, delete all the old photos. Then, once you have that, Instagram is a stories game. You have to have stories on there every single day. Takes a minute of effort. Don't give me any time excuse, please, because we all have 112 waking hours available to ourselves every single week. If we sleep 8 hours a night, if you sleep 8 hours a night, you have 112 waking hours that you can use. Instagram stories take 1. Okay, it's just an excuse. I was married to a woman who wasn't right for me. I wish I would have had somebody tell me that before I got into the relationship with her and suffered a lot. So now we're here. You got the opportunity now. You're divorced now. Amazing. Congratulations. Welcome to the rest of your life. With dating apps, with Instagram, with approaches, you'll be able to meet women. There will come a time in your life, my brother, where you will look back on these days and you will thank the Lord that you found somebody better. You'll replace her. You will level up physically, with values, personality-wise, intellectually. You'll find somebody that you're so much more compatible with. This is an amazing opportunity if you use it, if you take action. I'm giving you practical strategies that work. I use them with my clients all the time. Please, I'm giving them to you. Use them. So you build a great profile, you make sure you're not tagged in any weird shit. Then you post stories every single day. 1 or 2, you doing cool shit. What can it be? Ideally, you in the company of people, if you dance, play paddle, the more social proof, the better. But even just you talking to the camera, saying, we had an awesome client meeting earlier, about to go get a smoothie, ginger shot, talking into the camera. Don't ever share anything you're not comfortable with. If you have kids, you can share them. You don't have to share them. You make the rules, okay? Then you can reach out to women directly. The main reason Instagram is so important is not even because you will send direct messages, but because you will funnel the leads from dating apps and in-person approaches to Instagram. And she can stalk on you. Instagram will 2 to 3x your dating results, minimum. Let me say that again. You will get 2 to 3 times better dates and more dates if you have an Instagram that is well built, that makes you look as good as humanly possible. And remember, every new post that you make that is a bit more permanent than a story, could be a little bit more loose with the stories, but even with stories, you have to ask yourself, is this as good or better than the previous posts? If they're not, don't do it. Don't post it. Because again, you can have one bad Instagram story and lose dates over that. One weird picture where you think you're doing squats. If you take pictures in the gym, by the way, triceps pull down. That's it. Why is you always posting triceps pull down? Because it looks good. There are very few exercises that make you look good. Don't do any leg exercises. If you're extraordinarily jacked, you can do some pull-ups, but really just do triceps pull down in the gym if you're in great shape. Otherwise, don't post anything from the gym. Instagram is unbelievably powerful. You don't have to use it. You can just exchange iMessage. That's okay. But it is an extraordinarily powerful tool if you use it well, my friend. Now, pardon me, bit of a hiccup. Had a bit of a protein yogurt beforehand. Approaches. When it comes to approaches, it is a blue ocean strategy. It is something very few men do. If you approach in person, you'll be able to find a wife. You'll get dates that are going to blow your mind. You will grow as a man beyond what you initially thought was even possible. You'll be one of the very few men who'll speak from experience. Because most men, what they're teaching their sons, it's hearsay. They are telling them what they think is true based on what they heard in mainstream media, or based on what their uncle told them. Same with me. I love my parents. They're great. But they didn't have the best marriage, so I didn't have a role model in this area. So I tried to figure it out myself. Suffered a ton with my ex-wife. Wasn't great. So when I was working for Salesforce many years ago and I met my mentor and I started going out, I was shitting myself. There's 2 problems with approaches. There's a skill issue and there's approach anxiety. The only reason you're not approaching yet, my friend, is because you haven't overcome your approach anxiety. That's really it. If you overcome your approach anxiety, and I'll tell you exactly how in a minute, you can talk to women in Whole Foods, you can talk to women at bars and clubs. Don't go to clubs necessarily. If you want to, cool, but you don't have to go there because most people you meet there are just a bit retarded. That's just a fact. So bars, yeah, they're fine. During the day, amazing. It doesn't even matter where you do it, whether it's bars or whether it's during the day. In-person approaches are a blue ocean strategy, which means there's very little competition. Most guys don't do it, and the ones who do it are either on cocaine or alcohol. They don't really matter. How do you overcome your approach anxiety? Either you put yourself into such a confident state that you can do it. That works. partially, sometimes, but what always works is progressive desensitization, exposure therapy, going step by step. How did you learn to bench 225 pounds in the gym? 100 kilos. Well, what you did is you benched 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You go up. If I were to walk by a restaurant with you right now and you see 3 extremely attractive women sitting inside, and I'd say, go talk to them. Tell her, hey, excuse me, ladies, don't want to interrupt ladies' night, but you're really beautiful. I had to come and speak to you. Don't use beautiful as an opener. Just say you're cute, but you probably wouldn't even be able to do it right now. And by the way, I'd encourage you to be honest with yourself, because if you're not doing it, then you can't. Fact. And that's okay, because we as human beings exist in 3 zones. There's the comfort zone, the zone of growth, and the zone of overwhelm. It is just overwhelming for you at this point in time. You should be in the zone of challenge, where you might feel a little bit nervous, but you're still able to perform. So what can you do instead? Well, you could talk to a dude and say, hey, bro, what's up? Or you could talk to a woman that you just don't find attractive. Did you watch Lord of the Rings? There is a being called Gollum. It's really fucking ugly. Imagine there was a person, a woman, that you, subjectively in your own point of view, don't find that attractive. Would you be nervous? No. Great. So progressive desensitization works with the directness of the approach, or just the level of attraction. If she's a 3 out of 10, you probably can go and speak to her. If she's an 8 out of 10, you're probably going to be a little bit nervous. So how low do you have to go in terms of your subjective level of attraction to be able to go and say, excuse me 2 seconds, and give her some compliment? Ultimately, the opener you want to use is just, excuse me 2 seconds, you're really cute, I had to come and say hi, my name is David, what's your name? And feel free to call yourself David, you can borrow my name if it gives you confidence. I'm totally joking, right? You use your own. You say, excuse me 2 seconds, my name is John, my name is Steve, great to meet you. But you have to be willing to talk to a couple of women first that you're not that attracted to. And you subjectively determine how low you have to go. If you can start with 8s and 9s, amazing. 10s don't exist, by the way. Any man who says he wants a perfect 10 is full of shit. That does not exist. There are no 10s. You'll find some level of imperfection with all women. You can find women that are very, very close to that physically, but I would rather, for a relationship, have you be with a woman who's an 8 or an 8.5, but really amazing personality, but really amazing values, than be with a woman who's a 9.4 and fully crazy. Because you have to keep in mind, my friend, that you can have a lot of chemistry with somebody that you're not really compatible with. So you want chemistry, you want passion, you want to be sexually compatible, absolutely. But the other factors matter as well. So you go low, and then you go step by step, and then you talk to 20 women a week. David, that sounds crazy. You don't have to do that. Look, you could theoretically just use dating apps, but you're all in Ryan's program. You're in Ryan's program already. So you're taking action. You're in a group of men who are separating themselves from society. So I assume you're somebody who wants it. You want to learn how to progress beyond what most people are getting. If you want unusually great results, it requires action. You could just use dating. You could just use dating apps to get a relationship. You could just send messages on Instagram. But if you're a man who takes action, then 20 a week. This week, you talk to 20 3s and 4s. Next week, 20 5s and 6s. Next week, 6s and 7s, 7s and 8s. You get the idea. And you go up. It works every single time. That's how you overcome your approaching anxiety. One of the single biggest mistakes men make is it's a cognitive error. They believe that they have to be able to do a spontaneous approach without having gone through a phase of doing structured approaches. You tell yourself, oh, David, I wasn't able to do the approach in Whole Foods. Yeah, well, the reason you weren't able to do that is because you didn't do 20 approaches the week before. How many approaches have you done over the last 6 months? And again, if you're 50 years of age, 40, 60, 30, however old you are, and you're recently divorced, you have to understand you're in a beautiful world and dating is easier than ever. It really is. People are telling you dating is so hard. It's easier than ever. Men don't approach. They don't do shit. This is your opportunity. It's an absolute blue ocean strategy. You can really open up the matrix. Talk to a woman. Get her Instagram. Get her number. Meet her for a date. Make love. Be in a relationship. Not with the first woman. And you're probably going to go on 50 dates before you'll find the right one. Some of you are going to go on 7 dates. Some of you are going to go on 100 dates. It'll be between 50 and 100 dates before you'll find the right girlfriend or wife. Now, you don't just want quantity, you want the right quality. But guess what? Eventually, after a month of progressive desensitization, you can then only talk to the women who are really what you're looking for. And then it gets exciting. You know the winner effect you get from that? By just interrupting the fabric of society, talking to a woman that you just saw on the street, and you go on a date with her, then you kiss her, and then maybe on that date or a date later you make love, and then you're in a relationship. Even if you're not in a relationship, just getting the number, it gives you so much energy, it gives you so much confidence, it gives you an added sense of charisma. It makes you so unbelievably attractive, and it makes you a good father. Because again, most guys teach their sons or daughters from hearsay. They don't have the actual experience. You can be one of the few men who actually walked the talk. You can be one of the very few guys who did the thing despite having gone through a hard time in your life, and give yourself credit. But when it comes to doing approaches, don't ever judge yourself. The single most important thing is an empowering inner dialogue. If you understand that the single greatest, there's a lot of things that need to be done right, but the single greatest determinant of your dating success, finding the right one, is an empowering inner dialogue. The words you utter to yourself. And the relationship you have with yourself, my friend, is not carved in stone. You co-create that at any given point in time. But it depends on how you talk to yourself. And it's okay to have a self-critical thought every once in a while. Ooh, is this ever going to work? I'm a ginger. You can let that thought arise in the space of loving awareness, but you don't have to associate with it, because the only thoughts that have power over you are the ones you choose to believe. You don't have to believe these empowering thoughts. No reason for that. You just affirm something empowering. If you're a kind guy, if you're a good man, you treat people well, you're hardworking, you deserve an empowering inner self dialogue. You deserve to tap yourself on the shoulder, because when you get a rejection, it is not optional. If you don't say the following words to yourself after you get a rejection, you won't keep going. And the only reason your dating life will suck and you keep making love to yourself, watching manga porn, is because you stop taking action. But the requirement for action is mindset. And part of mindset, part of the way your state is functioning, is an empowering inner dialogue. So right after rejection, you just say this to yourself. Who would have the balls to do that? Who would have the courage to do what I just did? And then you look around and you look other men in their eyes and you realize he didn't do it. He didn't do it. I would rather be the gladiator dying in the arena than be one of 20,000 spectators who wasted their life. Be the gladiator in the arena. Get rejected in front of a bunch of other chodes. Men who are not taking action. Anybody who takes action in anything gets rejected. A rejection is not a failure. The only criteria for a success is the fact that you do it. When you do the approach, you can feel amazing about yourself. You can say, that was fucking awesome. Fuck yeah, and another one. You get a rejection, another one, because it only takes 20 approaches to get one quality date. 20 approaches, one date. Every time you do an approach, one rejection closer to an amazing relationship. It is one of the single greatest ways to work on yourself. I love it when guys say, I need to work on myself first. Going out there, doing approaches, getting on dating apps, dating with intent, working on your communication skills is the single greatest way to work on yourself. Because you work on your communication, you work on your confidence, you work on your understanding of human psychology. You are doing the thing that you're most afraid of, because men will do anything not to do the approach. I've done it too. When I was with my ex-wife, or before then, I would talk myself out of approaches. I would make excuses. She's too tall. She's too short. She has a serious facial expression. She's walking very fast. She has headphones in. It's all bullshit. If somebody walked up to you while you're in Whole Foods, you're having a conversation with your mother, a very important conversation, and somebody interrupts you and hands you a briefcase with $1 million, would you be upset that that person interrupted the conversation with your mom and your protein bar shopping? No, you'd gladly take it. Is your presence in the life of a woman that you're compatible with not worth tons more than a measly $1 million? Is that not worth a lot more That's the belief you have to have in yourself. If you want to strengthen that belief, do this exercise. Write down 20 reasons as to why you are not a, but the best option for the right woman. Not for any option. Sorry, not for any woman, but for the right woman. You are the single best possible option in the world. Why? What do you bring to the table? 20 reasons. I'm funny. I'm good at sex. I'm caring. I'm hardworking. I give great massages. I'm a good chef. Anything that comes to mind. Finances, emotional investment, caring, creativity, being artist, whatever you are. Write it down. Not 17, not 18. 20 reasons as to why what you bring to the table is unbelievably valuable, makes you the best option. And then you review that. And then you realize, whoa, when I approach her, I'm making her an offer. I'm saying, whoa, she's beautiful. I hope I like her. Most guys say she's beautiful. I hope she likes me. What you want to say is, she's beautiful. I hope I like her. You're making her an offer to apply for the position of the girlfriend or life partner. Fernanda, my fiance, who I've been with for 6 years now, it's not like I think, oh, I'm the prize and should be so grateful to be with me. I'm extremely grateful to be with her, and I treat her extremely well. But I'm also aware of my value. I'm aware of the value that I bring to the relationship, and I'm fully aware of the value that she brings to the relationship. She was standing there earlier. I was like, man, she's hot as fuck. Jesus Christ. She's got a master's degree from one of the best universities in Brazil. By the way, I've never been to Latin America. I met her in Dublin. She was already here. Kind, caring, amazing values. Nobody's perfect, but Jesus fucking Christ. So I appreciate her a lot. But at the same time, I'm extremely aware of the value that I bring to the relationship as well. You have to be grounded in what you can bring to the table and have full conviction that they're the right woman. It's amazing. Now, most women won't be right for you, and it's fine. Who gives a shit? Find something funny. Keep going. Take action, action, action. Massive action is the cure-all. Find some guys that you can go out and approach with. Drink 0 alcohol, 0 drugs. And if you do 20 approaches a week, you will get 3 to 4 dates a month that are going to blow your mind. Dating apps, Instagram, and approaches. Each one of those channels, and by the way, that's the only way to get dates. Yeah, there's referrals. Your friend Mary setting you up with somebody, but that's unscalable. Every single one of those channels, Instagram, dating apps, and approaches, can get you at least 1 quality date a week. At least. I've had guys who got multiple dates a week, several. You only need 1 a week, but can you get at least 1 a week? What else are you going to do on a Thursday evening? Order sushi, watch Apple TV by yourself, watching Yellowstone? Congratulations. I like to do that also every once in a while. But wouldn't it be nice to share that with somebody? Take action, bro. So, that's approaches. Instagram and dating apps. You're getting dates now. In person, then you do the approach. Let's act this out. I'll do a little role play. I'll give you, hard to do that. I don't know anybody to role play with, but I'll give you a couple of building blocks for the approach. Say, excuse me 2 seconds, really cute to, really cute. Excuse me, we filmed an 1.5-hour podcast before. My brain is a little bit tired, so bear with me. So, excuse me 2 seconds, you're really cute, I had to come and say hi. Thank you very much. Hey, Sarah. And then you go, you look like, you go into oversharing. Don't ask too many questions. One of the biggest mistakes guys make is they ask too many questions. You want to have playful assumptions. You look like a lawyer. You work in law. Not immediately after. You want to calibrate it a little bit, right? You say, hey, excuse me 2 seconds, you're really cute, I had to come and say hi. She goes, oh, thank you. Yeah, look, I know this probably isn't a done thing around here. I'd probably be a very sad man if I didn't just say, hi, are you about to go to the gym or did you just come from the gym? Awesome, cool. Do you work in law? Instead of just asking her, what do you do for work? Do you come here often? 2 or 3 questions in a row and she immediately goes, I don't even know you. Why do I owe you any explanation whatsoever? She doesn't. So you want to overshare without being asked to. Very important. You have to assume the burden of the conversation in the beginning. Until she starts talking, you talk. The second she starts talking, you ping off of what she has, and then you transition. Then you talk to her for 3 to 7 minutes, you get her number, you say, by the way, you're probably on Instagram, right? Cool, let's exchange Instagram. And then you text her. Here's the following text. Was fun meeting you. You have great energy. She says, thank you. You say, let's meet for drinks one of these days. Boom, and there you go. Most approaches are going to be 3 to 7 minutes. Some are going to turn into instant dates. You're going to have a date right then and there, which is amazing, fantastic. You want to stay in the approach as long as humanly possible because counterintuitively or counter to what the mainstream tells you, is not just walking up to her and asking for a number. That's not how an approach works. You might even get the number, but she's not going to show up on the date. You don't want the vanity metric of the number. You want her to actually show up on the date. Cool. So you want to stay with her as long as humanly possible. Most approaches 3 to 7 minutes. Some are going to be instant dates. Some are going to be instant rejections. Most of them are going to be rejections. But to be honest, if you smile and you look up with warm body language and you greet her as if she was a long lost friend and you assume familiarity, even if she'll reject you, most of the rejections are going to be perfectly fine. You say, hi, great to see you. Imagine there's a friend that you haven't seen in years. Hey, she's like, oh, wow. And you build that familiarity, she'll feel that. Someone will still gonna be like, what the fuck off. And that's fine. But if there's any bit of compatibility, if she doesn't hate your ginger face, you'll be fine. She'll let you talk. And then you have to assume the burden of the conversation, do storytelling, build a little bit of a man-to-woman connection. How do you build a man-to-woman connection? There's many different ways. Give her a compliment. Don't over-compliment her, but give her a compliment. You have the cutest facial expressions when you're trying to explain something. It's not about the line, but make it a little bit tailored. Don't tell her she's beautiful. Beautiful women already know that. And one of the most important things, and now we're transitioning from the approach to actually the date. It still applies to the initial part of the approach, but especially also during the date. You can't be too logical. I understand that the divorce was maybe a hard process and you had to shift into your warrior mode. I get that. But if you can't be fucking fun and playful on the date, you already lost. I'm German. My countrymen are particularly at fault with this, and me too. But men in the US, most of my clients are in the US. Some of them are in the UK. I've worked with hundreds of clients from 40 different countries, and it's true with almost all of them. You become way too logical, way too serious, and you do a factual exchange of information on the date. She's not on the date for a factual exchange of information. She's there to feel alive. So be fun, be playful, be silly. Tell a story, make jokes that are absolutely not politically correct. Remove the filters from your communication. Be fun, be carefree. Go on to the date. And even before the date, by the way, call a friend. Before you get to the date, talk on the phone for 8 to 15 minutes to a friend and talk yourself into social flow. Extremely important. So when you get there, you're already in flow. At the same time, you can't have the expectation that everything has to be perfect from the beginning. Women notice the delta of how they feel with you right now an hour into the date as opposed to the beginning of the date, more so than the actual emotions themselves. Emotions are oftentimes only registered as a delta. Any emotion can almost be unnoticeable if you get used to it. We know that, positive or negative. So it's okay if it's a little bit awkward in the beginning. Awkwardness doesn't exist, by the way. Awkwardness is only a meaning. You give a situation, you can refuse to ever feel awkward ever again. If you just choose confidence, there's 4 sources of confidence. Maybe I'll talk about that here today as well. If not, I can ask Ryan to send you guys a video about that. There's 4 sources of confidence. If you can just choose to turn that on, you don't ever have to feel awkward ever again. You can refuse to feel awkward. But even if it is a little bit awkward in the beginning, that's fine. Because it gets better, better, better. In the beginning half of the date, or at the beginning 10, 15 minutes, it's just comfort. Be a calibrated person, okay? Be warm, assume the burden of the conversation, do some storytelling. And don't fall prey to the nonsense the mainstream is telling you of just ask her a lot of questions and she'll really like you. Well, yeah, that may be true. That may not be true. There are certain questions you do want to ask her that maybe make it more fun and playful, like what's the most adventurous thing you did in the last year? And then you ask her things that what drugs have you tried? Even if you're against drugs, just ask her and be non-judgmental. Where have you traveled? What's the craziest day you've been on? Now, don't talk about exes, but you can ask questions that make the conversation way more fun. But again, don't make it a fucking interview. Storytelling. And then the second she gives you something, you ping off of that. Then you tell stories and you relate those stories back to you and her. And give yourself a little bit of grace. If you run out of things to say, that's a skill set. How can you practice that? You record yourself on camera, talking into a camera for 10 minutes every single day. And then you go from one subject to the next, to the next, to the next. Now, how can you build a man-to-woman connection on the date? Compliments, teases, push-pull, disqualification. First of all, you have to be okay with romantic intent. You have to understand that it's okay and necessary for you to make things romantic. If you can't even make it romantic, she won't do it for you. 19 out of 20 women won't escalate for you. She won't just drop to her knees. It's not going to happen. You'll have to gradually and respectfully move things forward. You build a man-to-woman connection verbally and physically. Physically, you start with, well, in the beginning, you're probably going to give her a hug, right? For the beginning of the date. Cool. You go in for the hug. If she doesn't want that, fine. A normal woman is going to fucking hug you. Jesus Christ. You go in for a hug. You don't hold her long. You just go in. Hey, cool. And as you're sitting on the date, she tells you that she goes to the gym 5 times a week. Boom, fist bump. Then you give her a high five. Then maybe you put the back of your hand on her arm to see how she reacts. Very non-invasive, right? And then maybe you'll go for a hug eventually. Maybe then you just touch her hair. You say, I really like your hair. Is it real? Little push-pull, teasing, right? It doesn't have to be the line, but you touch her hair. Anytime you build physical contact in any way, you have to be extremely calibrated, extremely respectful, but you just check for different signals. You're going to get a positive, a neutral, or a negative. If I do a high five, that's neutral. If this is me, this is her, and she pulls back a little bit, like that's already a negative. Then you don't want to keep building physical contact. You don't want to escalate things physically. If you do this, if she pushes, that's positive. Or if she does this, ooh, we're golden. If she starts building physical contact herself, amazing. If after an hour or two on the date, you touch her hair and you say, I like her hair, and she doesn't flinch at all, then you can go for the kiss. Yes, you should kiss her on the first date. And again, the kiss is only ever an offer. She decides whether to take you up on that offer or not, but it's your responsibility as a man to make that. You have to make the offer. You have to go for the kiss. Unless you live in an extremely conservative country, and no, the US is not extremely conservative. Like I'm really talking like, Saudi Arabia, then you maybe shouldn't want to go for the kiss. But if you live in the US or the UK or in any Western country, you're going to go for the kiss on the first date. And almost all women, if they like you, will kiss you. They may not have sex with you on the first date. Some will, some won't. But you should definitely go for the kiss. You go for the kiss. How else can you build a man-to-woman connection? Compliments. Most men don't compliment women enough at all. Some overdo it. Don't tell her too many compliments. But over the course of like an hour, 2, 3, 4 compliments, that's fine. Like two, 3 really good compliments. I really like that. That's awesome. That hits. You have the cutest facial expressions when you're trying to explain something. You actually have a really beautiful smile. You have beautiful energy. Those really hit. Don't just compliment her looks. Again, she's heard that 17,000 times. A beautiful woman knows she's beautiful. Push-pull is basically positive emotional spike, negative emotional spike. But if you remove the filters from your communication, my friend, and you become way more radically honest, and you actually say the things that you really believe, you will have naturally positive and negative emotional spikes. You'll become polarizing. You want to be like Moses parting the Red Sea. You want to go onto that date to find out whether there's compatibility. Your only purpose on the date is to make sure she has a great time, you have a great time, you want to add positivity, and you want to screen for compatibility. Again, she's beautiful. I hope I like her. Say that right now. Say it in your head. She's beautiful. I hope I like her. She's beautiful. I hope I like her. That's very positive. That puts you into a selective frame of mind. It doesn't make you one of those men who takes whatever's given to him. You've done that. I mean, I don't know why you got a divorce. Obviously, there's several different reasons. But next time you want to choose better. So you have to assume the responsibility for choosing carefully. And that is a mindset that is reinforced by an empowering inner dialogue. For example, by saying, she's beautiful. I hope she likes me. Storytelling, be fun, be playful, be extremely calibrated, be willing to walk away at any given point in time. Let's talk about a couple of things you shouldn't do on the first date. Don't talk about other men. Don't talk about your ex or her ex. Now, again, you can talk about her ex or your ex for 30 seconds or 45 seconds. That's fine. Yeah, I'm ex-wife. We really sure we're incompatible. We share custody of the kids. Blah, blah. Very briefly, and then you want to move on. Don't stay on the subject. Don't keep talking about her fucking ex-husband. Don't keep talking about your fucking ex-wife either. Okay? You want to move on. You don't want to be negative. You don't want to be cringe. You don't want to do dad jokes. Yes, you want to be fun and lighthearted, but don't make any weird fucking jokes. Be fun. Be playful. Be fun. Be playful. But it doesn't mean if you're naturally a more serious person that you have to cringe out a joke. That's not great. Okay? You build a man-to-woman connection, you do storytelling, you understand that the more free you can be in your expression on the date, the higher the probability of things are going to go well, and then you just invite her home at the end of the date. You don't say, let's go to my place, because that verbatimly translates into, do you want to fuck me? Okay? So instead you can say, hey, if you want to, we can have a glass of wine at my place. Let's have a glass of wine at my place. Now, David, I'm not here just for sex. I understand. It's not the end of the game. But again, it's an offer. You make the offer and she decides. Because some women want to have sex with you on the first date, for some second or third. Some never. In fact, most women don't ever want to fuck you. That's completely fine. But you make the offer. And if she would have liked to have sex with you on the first date and you withhold it from her, she'll be kind of disappointed and she may not want to see you again, okay? She'll just make the offer. If she says, no, cool, they just meet again for a second or a third date. No problem at all. But on the first, second, and or third date, you say, hey, I live close by. We can have a drink at my place. Cool. Boom. And then you go. Now, what you're doing is you're getting quality options. This obviously goes deeper, but I'm trying to condense it a little bit, give you the single most important lessons compressed so you have a lot of actionable things. These are very, very practical, actionable strategies you can use for your date. Now, right after the date, you say, text me when you're home safe, because the worst thing you can do, if you had a great date, to not text her at all, that can fuck things up. You don't want to over text either. Keep it short, roughly match her response time, but you want to say, let me know when you're home safe. She says, I'm home safe. Thank you for the evening. Thank you too. But, or you just like heart her message and then, or just give it a thumbs up. And then a day or two later, you say, you wait a day or two, the next day it could be, or the day later, you can say, let's meet for dinner one of these days. But you want to text right after the date. Okay. It's called a comfort text. And then you just meet her again for another date. And then you evaluate several different options at the same time. Don't make it exclusive with the wrong women too quickly, my friend. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. You're divorced now. The worst thing you can do is to just jump into a committed relationship with the wrong woman. Let me say that again. The worst thing you can do is to emotionally commit yourself to the wrong woman too quickly. Explore your options. Be willing to go on 50 dates. It may just be 9, but be willing to go on 50 to 80 dates before you find your next long-term girlfriend. That's crazy. That's just a date a week for a year, or 2 dates a week for half a year. Is not that much. I mean, it depends on your standard. If you have extremely low standards, fine. But I don't think you're the type of man, given that you're in Ryan's program, who has low standards. You have high standards for yourself. Maybe you're doing good in some areas. You probably are. There must be some areas in your life you're doing well, your career, your business, maybe your fitness. You deserve somebody. But it doesn't matter what you inherently deserve. It's not about your value of your soul. It's about the value of you in the dating marketplace. And that comes down to communication. You have to rid yourself of the blind spots you have in your communication that cause women to lose interest in you. But now, most importantly, understand that you can have so much fucking fun. I'm very excited for you. You are now entering the best time of your life if you take action. If you don't take action, you're fucked. But if you take action, you do use dating apps, Instagram, and you approach in person, the next years can and will be the best years of your life. Make it practical. Block the time in your Google Calendar. If you're a little weirdo, you can use Outlook. Totally joking. Block the time in your calendar, please. You will not block, it'll not happen if it's not in your calendar. Block the time in your calendar. One of the most fun things you can do is grab a buddy, grab a friend who's in Ryan's program, or a local friend of yours, whoever that is, and go and approach together. It's the most amount of fun you could ever have. Go on dating apps. You want to have men that you can talk to about how your date went. You want those guys. It's so much fun. You can have so much fun. Spend time with quality male friends. Enjoy the dating process. Have a radical process of self-empowerment. Before we end it, I still want to talk about the 4 sources of confidence because I just remembered that as a final gift. The first one is competence. The way you become confident is being competent. You get better at something that creates confidence. That confidence gets you to enjoy the process even more. You put in more work, your confidence goes up. Confidence competence loop is what they call it in psychology. The second source of confidence is your state, your mental and your emotional state. You are not either confident or not confident. It's a state you can learn to turn on. Tony Robbins has a triad. What determines how you feel, how certain you feel emotionally, comes down to your habits. Your habits of focus, what you focus on, your language habits, your patterns, and how you use your body. You know you're not the same person before and after a workout if you go spend time in nature. If you ask yourself regarding your dating and your relationship life, what can I control right now? If you ever want certainty, just ask yourself, what can I control right now? And now, the 2 most important words in all of personal development. What else? What else? What else? What else can I control right now? What else can I control right now? And then you take action, because taking action puts you back in control. So you ask yourself, what can I control right now? And you focus on your actions, not on the outcome. Very important with an approach, by the way, with anything. You focus on the actions you can control. as opposed to what's outside of your realm of control. Just by focusing on something that's outside your control, whether she'll text you back, whether she'll suck your dick, whether she'll meet you again or not, well, that will produce uncertainty within you, and that's not what you want. So change what you focus on, and you'll change your emotional reality, change the way you speak to yourself, affirmations, incantations. That shit works. And then your physiology, Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, who I've had the fortune to learn a lot from over the years, he always says, how you're going, that's how it's going. How you're going, that's how it's going. Your walk is never negative. Sorry, your walk is never impartial. You always either hypnotize yourself, put yourself in a more empowering mental and emotional state, or into a more disempowering one. It never stops. If you're walking like this, or like that, that changes your neurochemistry. It's no woo-woo. If they were to measure your brain, if you use your voice and you walk confidently, not like an arrogant dickhead, but you walk a little bit more confidently, shoulders back, little smile, head up a little bit, head held up a little bit higher, put some music in your ear that's empowering, you will feel different. How you're going, that's how it's going. From now on, my friend, whenever you're walking somewhere, ask your brilliant unconscious system, if I was more confident, how would I walk? If this felt a little bit lighter, if this was easier, if it felt lighter, what would it be like? And don't even demand a conscious answer. Just ask your system that, and your system will respond. You walk. How would I walk if I was more confident? And your body responds, and maybe something changes in your voice because your voice gets more grounded. All these things contribute to how you feel. You're in control. Challenges are going to come. Sometimes things are going to go awesome, sometimes not so awesome. So, like if you run a business, you have amazing things and shitty things happening every day. That's awesome. But how are you going to feel? Well, how you make yourself feel. In a lot of Instagram videos these days, or on social media, you see this idea that men just ignore their emotions. You just do the right thing anyway. That's your responsibility and your duty as a man. And while I agree with that in part, you do the right thing, whether you feel like it or not. We all know that's only true if the severity of the negative emotions haven't surpassed a certain threshold. If the anger is so strong, if the depression is so strong, the sadness, the fear, we can't do the thing. If the approach anxiety is so strong, we can't do the thing. So what do? You make yourself feel like it. You change your focus, your language patterns, your physiology. You make yourself feel like it, and then you do it naturally. Oh, I have writer's block. Do affirmations for 5 minutes. Have a hardcore gym session. There won't be any writer's block. Oh, my omega-3. Yes, supplements matter. Get your zinc. Get your supplements in. Reduce the inflammation in your body. That's all extremely important. But the tools you have to put yourself into a strong state every single day psychologically is by far the single greatest lever. And it's the single greatest determinant of your consistency of action, which ultimately gets you the results you want.